and welcome to week 5 textbook questions. So in exercise 4-1, question number 3, it says rewrite the following arguments, putting the premise first and the conclusion last. If there is an implicit premise, add it and circle it. If there is an implicit conclusion, add it and circle it. Since the questions are really long, I'm just going to read my answers. For A, I said premise 1, what is simple cannot be separated from itself. Premise 2, your soul is simple. And the conclusion, therefore, it cannot be separated from itself. For B, I said premise 1, it helps bring out your best. Premise 2, you smell clean and natural. Conclusion, it helps you feel good about yourself. For C, I said premise 1, I'm sick and tired of people fooling around with my habits. Implicit premise, why should I, at my advanced stage of life, have to learn to measure all over again in some strange new system? Conclusion, very opposed to the metric system. Question D, premise 1, changes that are imparted thus slowly lost their vitality. Premise 2, trust in monopolies could not eliminate the competition. Conclusion, it all ended in the Great Depression of 1930s. Exercise 4-1, question number 3 continued. For letter E, I said premise 1, candidate can memorize harmless answers. Premise 2, if something expected comes up, they can politely beg off and give a speech. Conclusion, we put a great emphasis on debating. F, premise 1, he'll drive recklessly only if he's upset. Premise 2, he's not upset. Inconclusive conclusion, he will not drive recklessly. G, premise 1, academic and international functionaries have seldom gone into field to collect data. Premise 2, agencies direct contact with local population choose to relieve suffering, not collect data. Conclusion, there is not enough data. H, premise 1, no pay work done in home. Premise 2, wages significantly lower than men. Conclusion, women are economically significantly worse off than men. Exercise 4-1, question number 3 continued. I, premise 1, Christ didn't choose women to be priests. Premise 2, the church today must model that of its founder. Conclusion, women can't be ordained. J, premise 1, it's confessed. C, it's guilty. K, premise 1, hot fudge sundaes are desirable. C, you desire hot fudge sundaes. L, premise 1, individuals' rights begin at birth. Implicit premise, a fetus is not human. Premise 2, rights are a concept applicable to individuals who have already been born. C, conclusion, fetus do not have right. Exercise 4-1, question number 4. Determine whether the following arguments are deductive or inductive. Be careful to pick out the conclusion before deciding. So for the following, I said A is inductive, B is deductive, C is inductive, D is inductive, E is deductive, F is inductive, G is deductive, and H is deductive. Exercise 4-1, question number 5. Considering the following arguments and decide whether you think the author of the argument intends to be deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning. So for A, I said inductive reasoning, B, inductive reasoning, C, inductive reasoning, D, deductive reasoning, E, deductive reasoning, and F, deductive reasoning. Exercise 4-2, question number 1. Question, distinguish logical warranting from factual warranting. So in this, my answer was factual warnings. When a warning is based on a statement or facts, a fact is precise and less questions are asked. Logical warning, when there is a place to use logic and reason, when there is a link between a premise and conclusion. And exercise 4-1 or 4-2, question number 2. Explain why in our daily lives reasoning with probability is more common than reasoning with necessity. My answer was, I feel as individuals we use reasoning with probability because it's what our minds are programmed to use in everyday life and experience than reasoning with necessity. Thank you for listening.